art project for you today. It's called a collagraph, and I've learned about this type of project from a number of different art teachers in the art community, namely Cassie Stevens and Art Room Glitter Fairy and a number of others. All you have to make this project is some cardboard. I'm using this kind from a cereal box. Cracker boxes, any kind of thin cardboard material works pretty well. You also need some glue and some scissors. I'll tell you more about that in the video. This project can be customized to any design you're interested in. I made this one out into an owl. And you can do a rubbing. You can also use it to do a rubbing and then paint over the top of it, like this one. You can also cover it in the end and use it to make a marker print. So this project is really customizable. You can do all sorts of fun things with it, and I encourage you to give it a try. Here's another one. It's fun for all ages and only really uses recyclable materials and of course some glue and scissors, so easy peasy. Stay tuned. Okay, so first off I gathered up some old cereal boxes and some glue and some scissors, and I have this tacky glue, but you could use any kind of glue that you have. It just might take a little bit longer to dry. So I started off by just cutting one of these boxes in half and then trimming off all the side bits. I don't want my printing plate to be too big, so I just did a half of the box size. Of course you can use any kind of cracker box or snack box, really anything that's this kind of thin cardboard material will work out really well for this project. There are all sorts of videos on how to make a collagraph, but I thought I would just share with you what I've been working on. And you can be really creative about what design you make on yours, but I'm going to be pretty simple here and share with you what I've created in the past too. So now I have two printing plates I can work with, and I can build on top of them. And what we're doing is we're building up onto one of the plates. I'm going to put this one halfway. So if I'm going to use this one right here for my printing plate background, then I can use this piece of large material to draw a design on and cut it out. And so I'll go ahead and draw my design. You of course can draw a design or cut a design out freehand. It's up to you. I'm just going to do a super simple flower. So I'm going to start by just making the center and some big petals. I like to kind of rotate my project when I'm working on something that's radiating out in all sides. That way I can try to make it kind of even. And then after I have my designs ready, I cut them out. And this part isn't really going to show unless you end up wanting to color your collagraph in the end, which is fine. So it doesn't really matter if you don't do a perfect job, or if you cut on top of it, or don't like your design, cut something else out, it's fine. So I'm going to cut out a bunch of flowers in my scene here and then some accent lines. And I want some petals that are actually going to be coming out separately here. So I'm going to add those, and I'm going to do some other floral pieces as well. So in this design, I really went to town and added a lot of different flowers and made some leaves, and I kept all the pieces loose so that when I'm feeling like I'm ready, I can go ahead and glue them all down, and I will do that here. But I wanted to show you that it doesn't have to be a really complex design with lots of pieces. You can just make a super simple collagraph with like one flower, or maybe just one bird, or a simple shape. So it doesn't have to be complicated. So with this one that's already dried and it's ready to go to be printed with, or to do a rubbing of, I'm going to go ahead and put my paper down, and With little kids, you might, or younger kids, you might want to go ahead and tape it so it doesn't wiggle out of your way. So I'm going to take just a little bit of painter's tape and tape it down to the table so it doesn't try to slip out of my grip. And I'm going to take a naked crayon. So a crayon like this that has no wrapper on it anymore. And I'm going to just hold my paper, even though it's taped down, I'm going to still hold it in place, and I'm going to do a sideways rubbing of my design. So I get to see the relief image here, and I can tell that it's working out pretty well. And I can see where all the edges are because they really are darker than the rest. And I can do this, I can color in my whole flower here with one color, and I think that looks pretty good. But you could also choose to do it, and you could do these leaves in a little bit of a green crayon or the stem as well. You don't have to do it all one color. So this time I'm just being pretty basic, but I wanted to show you how easy that is. And now I can do it over and over again. I can make this a card to give to someone. I can just give it to them as a picture present, and I can use the same collagraph over and over and over again. So I think it's just a really fun idea for a project. Once you're done with this picture, I'll just go ahead and take that tape off really carefully. It's tearing a little bit, so I might choose to make my paper a little bigger so that doesn't happen. But I might take this and do like a really simple watercolor on top of it. Because it's crayon, it will resist. And I tried that before and it looked like this. I thought that looked super fun. So I used a really light color and then I used watercolor over the top of it. And this is just regular paper, so it ended up looking kind of like a batik, which is another type of really amazing art. So here's another one I did where I made a little birdie. You could add little accent pieces with a marker over the top, and that's super fun. Here's one that I made, that's an owl, so a little bit more detail, and when I did a rubbing of that one, it turned out like that. So there are just so many things you can do with this project. You can get pretty detailed. This one was inspired by an artist named Robin Mead. I think she does really amazing artwork. And I did that one in black and white so I can do some watercoloring on the top of it. So there's just so many things. I made some for Earth Day. So there's what that one looks like. And then when I did a rubbing of it, I could make a little sign, Earth Day every day, which I think is so true. So after you're done, and you're feeling like you've done a lot of printings of this friend, another thing you can do is you can cover it with foil. And once you cover it with foil, you can color like this right on the top of it with marker. Now you do have to use a water-soluble marker like a Crayola marker. It has to be a watery type of marker. So here's some right here that I used. So you color right over the top of it. And when you color over the top of it like this, you just color it all the way in. Lots of art teachers are showing this process lately too. So you cover it all the way up. And I've used this one over and over again. So that's another thing you can do is do printings on this over and over again. So I'm going to color it all the way in. And then I can add some accent pieces, some colors, just really anything I want. And I don't have to color parts of it if I don't want to. I could just leave them, let's say I don't want that branch in the picture, I could just leave it out and just have the birdie. I colored it all up. Maybe I want to do a little eye. Okay, so once I have this all colored, I'm going to do a marker print of it. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of slightly thicker paper. This is cardstock. It will work on regular paper, but cardstock just is a little easier to work with. And I wet this brand new sponge, but you could probably even wet this with a paper towel. And I'm just going to go across and down. I want to make sure there's definitely some water on my paper. And I'm just wetting it down where my bird is gonna go. And then I'm going to add my bird. So I'm gonna go ahead and place it down right on top and give it a good massage. I want to make sure I get a good print, so I'm going to hold it really steady and not let it wiggle. Rub it all the way around. And of course you could do this same thing with any of your collagraphs. So it makes it a multi-purpose project, which is super fun. Some of that branch might show up after all, or some of the background, because I have colored on this plate before. But let's see if it worked out. Oh wow, that's so fun. So there's my printing of my little birdie, and of course I can do more printings of this world, or I can do printings of this one that my daughter made of 3 little doggies stacked in a row. So there's all sorts of things you can do with this project, and I really do hope you have fun making collagraphs, and I'd love to see what you create. And clearly I can't stop creating, and I really hope you are busy creating too. So have fun. See you later. Bye-bye.